Hey guys, just thought I'd do a review for the movie We Live in Time. This movie had Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh in it. I hope I'm pronouncing Florence's name correctly there. But yeah, I went into this movie with good expectations. I heard a pretty good amount of things about it. It was from A24. So, generally A24 comes out with pretty good projects that I like. I mean, there's been like maybe two or three movies that I haven't liked from them. Lamb, this movie. Spoiler, I don't like this movie. But yeah, I can't really think of any other movies from A24 that I haven't enjoyed. Um, Lamb did have some good parts to it. Just overall, it wasn't a very good movie. And this one is kind of the same, except with even less good parts, I would say. Um, I think I'll start with the criticisms that I have for this movie. There was no depth in the movie, like really, almost no depth at all. The only depth that I saw was when Florence was arguing with Andrew Garfield's character. This is already after that diagnosis, and she's talking about how she doesn't want to be forgotten by her daughter. She wants her daughter to remember um, her for something at the very least. Um, and how basically that's the whole reason why she's doing this food competition. And when she maybe or maybe not have been getting treatment, I don't really see why she kind of been doing both. I mean, of course, her energy level is going to be affected. She's in chemo, right? Or she's in treatment. But I mean, if she thinks she can do it, um, I didn't see an issue with it. I mean, the only problem was she ended up leaving her child at school. She didn't end up picking her up. But I mean, she's human. She's in an extremely stressful time. Um, wasn't that bad of a. I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, leaving your child is bad, but considering the context of this whole situation, it's not that bad. Um, but yeah, really didn't like this movie. Honestly, I didn't hate it. I don't regret seeing it. So I don't regret not seeing the movie. I would just rate it like a 50%, which is like straight average. Um, yeah. The movie, I don't like. I think what the movie did worked for how the script was, which is when I found out that the movie was um, just set in completely random chapters, like you're in the beginning of when they met, and then suddenly you're at the end of their relationship, and suddenly you're in the middle, and suddenly you're like a quarter way in, and suddenly you're like 75% of the way in. When I found that out, I wasn't too optimistic. Honestly, it didn't seem like because when I seen the trailers, it had seemed so heavy, um, and it felt like it could be intense. But then I also, you know what? When I saw the trailers, there was a part of my mind I thought this was going to be kind of campy and corny. But I saw the ratings for it. It was pretty highly reviewed, and then it was A24, so I was like, there's a good chance this is going to be a good movie. Um, but yeah, I was wrong. I wasn't wrong. I kind of had a feeling this was going to be a little corny. Uh, my coworkers were telling me it wouldn't. They were telling me it was going to be kind of exciting. It was good. I mean, they haven't seen it either, but they were pretty optimistic. But yeah, I went into it. The movie itself, like when I say there's no depth, you really don't get a lot of depth. Like it's just montages, essentially. That's how I would describe the movie. It's just straight montages. You get like a tiny bit of interactions from them, but I'm gonna be honest, they did not. These two actors didn't have chemistry. Florence, Florence and Andrew Garfield's characters did not do well together. Honestly, they did not work together. Not only that, gonna be honest, they didn't have that great of performances either. Um, I don't want to knock them, but this movie is like the script was just there's no depth in the script. It's like when I can't emphasize it, I can't emphasize that enough. There's actually no depth. Um, but yeah, that's about it. Unfortunately, not. It's not a lot to review in this movie. Um, there's one good scene I liked, and that was the ending scene, where the character. I'm gonna give a little spoiler here. It's kind of obvious what happens, anyways, but or what's going to happen. But like Florence Pugh's character has already passed away at this point. Um, and Andrew Garfield's character, I don't even remember his name. I think it was Tobias. Tobias is Tobias. He's with his daughter, and they're picking up eggs, and he's essentially showing her how to crack eggs the same way Florence's character had shown him. And that was about it. I like that scene because it's very obvious what's happened, and yeah, it kind of touched you a little bit, just a tiny bit. It wasn't that great of a scene, but there was one more other thing I'd like to talk about with the movie before I end this video, is the sex scenes. I thought they were bad. There was not a lot of intimacy in them. I'm gonna be honest. They didn't seem that realistic. Kind of, maybe a little bit, but I remember seeing the interviews and they were talking about the sex scenes and they were talking about Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, they had gotten so into character they didn't even hear the director say cut. And I was like, where the fuck was that in the movie? The sex scene was literally 5 seconds max. I'm not kidding. There were 5 seconds max. I'm being generous. There were more like 4. But yeah, they weren't good. And then there's maybe the jokes in the movie too. They were just so campy. They were just so predictable. It was just so obvious that it was a joke too. Kind of like Marvel movies a little bit. There was maybe 1 or 2 that kind of worked, but you kind of still knew they were a little cheesy, a little bit more on the campy side. It's the parallel park scene, but even that was just oh, come on. And then the gas station scene. It's probably one of the better scenes in the movie, if I'm being honest. But I don't even remember what part of that scene was kind of stuck out to me. But if I had to say, that's probably one of the better moments in the movie, even though it's kind of campy, honestly. But they kind of worked it pretty well. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the review now. But yeah, that's it for me. A24 movie, We Live in Time, was not good.